government might be breaking some international obligations with their use of rushing things through Parliament and with their cancellation of kind of official policy checking. Really interesting story. That's like really interesting, kind of a bit political nerdy. I mean, for a lot of people they might not be, but for me, I'm like, this is going to be fascinating to watch over the next few days.
News Hub can reveal Treasury warned the government it would breach international obligations by suspending proper advice on policy to meet its 100-day goals.
Remember, the expert advice we're getting is it will give downward pressure. The expert advice we're getting is it will give downward pressure. Like we've said many, many times, they scream from the rooftops the expert advice they're taking when it suits their narrative. And when it's like this and it goes against the narrative, they discard it and they undercut it. They actually try and make it seem, irrelevant. Expert advice said, don't do this.
The Prime Minister denies he's trampling on democracy.
But as political editor Jenna Lynch reports, Labour's leader is calling the coalition a dictatorship, a word he previously refused to use to describe China's President Xi Jinping.
Riding a blue Nami to power.
Thank you.
And surfing the wave all over the sands of democracy.
Do you use one of those little blue pills to get a blue Nami? I'm just wondering. Is that those little, maybe? No? I don't know.
Reached for hope and you have voted for change.
That vote for change is what Christopher Luxon is leaning on to defend his government's record use of parliamentary urgency, skipping steps in the democratic process to pass reforms in time to meet his self-imposed deadline of 100 days.
That's really important too, self-imposed. As we've said, this doesn't mean anything. It's actually an Americanization of politics. Americans always talk about the first 100. It means nothing. And as we've said before, the only reason they've done it is so Labour couldn't go, you missed your self-imposed deadline. But there might be some very real consequences for that.
We are a government that is here to get things done.
Along with putting Parliament in urgency and skipping public input through select committees for some legislation, the government also...
Just little things like that, skipping public submissions and going into urgency, just little minor things like that. But there's one thing that's even bigger.
The government also decided to skip the official advice step, suspending what are known as regulatory impact statements on some 100-day policies. Advice released under the Official Information Act shows Treasury officials warning the urgency of a policy proposal is not in itself sufficient grounds for an exemption from such advice. Luxon denies that's trampling on democracy.
Not at all. What we're doing is, where we've had clear positions in opposition and where we've campaigned on policies through the election campaign, we're moving very quickly.
The advice also shows that the government was warned that New Zealand had international obligations, saying specifically under the NZ-UK Free Trade Agreement, New Zealand must endeavour to carry out proportionate impact assessments of proposed major regulatory...
So this is part of a free trade agreement with the UK. Now, what is the downstream effect from this? I don't know. Could it mean that they're in breach of it and it could be withdrawn? I guess it could. But what it does is it gives the UK ammunition to use it should they want to do something like pull out of it. Because if this puts us in breach of an international agreement, that's pretty big, Chewy. That's pretty big and significant. And it's all because they don't want to listen to advice that they don't want to take. That's actually what it's all about. I want to be able to go la 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 to the stuff I don't want to hear, and so they've done it.
It's amazing how quick I can get a job done if I ignore everything I'm being told while I try to do it. And it's also amazing how if I don't listen to the people around me that are telling me that what I'm doing is reckless, stupid, that's not in the training manual. Why are people screaming? The job that I'm trying to do falls apart on me. But yeah, I get it done quick though.
Yeah.
Giving people 2 days to submit on something or less in the case of the return of pseudoephedrine. They gave people 12 hours for that. Is just insulting. And where they've dodged other things like the Māori Health Authority, they rabbed that through under urgency so it wouldn't be in front of the courts. They've ignored this. The first 100 days is an Americanism that National co-opted.
Yep.
There is no requirement for them to come in with a hiss and a roar like this. And look, if Labor came in and did the same thing, I'd be saying the same thing. I have huge issues with urgency. This shit is not what it's for.
No, it's for the Christchurch earthquake. It's for the mosque shootings. It's for the cyclone in Auckland. That's what urgency is for. Not, I got to get it all done within 100 days.
Or there's shit that we're going to do before we go away for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, all governments have done that. I don't like that either. If you can't do a proper job, if you can't do it democratically, I'm sorry, your job didn't get done. Pick it up when you come back. You know, this is not what urgency's for.
This goes a little bit worse as well, because I think they start talking about the Bill of Rights. Let's get back to it.
Measures.
I've got no doubt that we have not met those. We have met those obligations. Yep.
For policies that didn't receive adequate advice, Treasury recommended a post-implementation review 1 year after the legislation passes to ensure it meets standards. But
that seems reasonable, right? You've done this, you haven't had it checked out. So how about then what we do is we give a 1 year checkup to see if you did end up reaching the targets that you wanted to reach. But what do you think Luxon said to that?
Luxon refused to commit to even that today.
Are you committed to a 1 year review of every policy that didn't get proper regulatory advice?
Again, we make no apologies. We got elected with a mandate for change and to getting things done.
Winning an election does not entitle you to act like a dictatorship.
Dictatorship. That's a term Chris Hipkins wouldn't even use for Chinese President Xi Jinping.
That is what this government are doing, ramming law changes through that they did not campaign on.
I make no apologies for getting things done for New Zealanders. I was elected.
Getting things done his way.
For New Zealanders.
News Hub.
For New Zealanders, he says, like the change in the smoking regulations rammed through under urgency.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
Just because
Who
you're
asked for
getting...
that?
Like imagine you were building a house. You can build it fast and cut corners and don't apologize as a builder for getting things done. Yeah, but you're not following safety. But I'm getting it done. Like, you can get things done fast. I'm not going to say or you can get things done well, because I'm sure sometimes you can be fast and good, but it appears that these guys are getting things rammed through fast. They're more excited about the speed of what they're doing than the quality of what they're doing. And that's why we're getting bad legislation.
I got this house built in record time. Sure, 15 builders died, and I saved time by not doing a foundation. But your roof's on, here's your keys, you'll never see me again. Lates.
Give me my check. Yeah, so it's just, it feels, it's just ludicrous, eh? It's just ludicrous. And it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes, because if you are in breach of an international obligation, what happens next? What happens? I mean, like, does that then go before some kind of international treaty or some sort of international board? Or
look, Pat, I wouldn't worry. Just chill. You're always going down this doom spiral, right? We're a trading company that exports all around the world. There's no reason that we need to stick to our trading agreements. They're just bits of paper with words on. They mean nothing. We can just pick and choose. We don't need to consider what our trading partners care about, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen. So just chill out, man. Take the rest of the week off. It's fine.
So like Melissa Lee was talking about, if TV3 just disappears, just go watch Sky. So in other words, if the UK free trade agreement falls over, just do one with a different country. Just get another one. They're not hard. Piece of cake. Just do it again.